Hi guys, welcome back. In this video I'm going to introduce you to Warhammer 40,000 Chaos Gate Daemonhunters and share my thoughts on the game. So far I've played about 7 hours, which I feel is enough to give a bit of an educated review. So to start off, let's see how the developers describe the game on Steam. Lead humanity's greatest weapon, the Grey Knights, against the corrupting forces of chaos in this brutal and fast-paced turn-based tactical RPG. Root out and put a stop to an insidious plot to infect the galaxy with bloom, an intergalactic cosmic plague capable of rotting worlds into oblivion. Armoured in faith, shielded by devotion, the Grey Knight's very existence is rooted in mystery, enforced with mind wipes and executions. Upgrade your base of operations, build new facilities, conduct research into arcane mysteries, and engage in combat missions across multiple worlds to purge the spread. The bloom corrupts without prejudice. Your choices will affect which planets succumb and survive. Command your own personalised squad of Grey Knights. Learn a range of diverse skills and psychic abilities. Unlock powerful equipment and specialise your champions into 4 unique standard and advanced classes. Each of your warriors can be customised with voice, armour and facial options to make them your own. Grey Knights are an elite chapter of Space Marines and are not in the business of making mistakes or missing their shots. The precision targeting system puts you in control of your tactical decisions, allowing you to plan your strategy with confidence, whether by taking shots from afar with surefire accuracy or dismembering and dismantling a foe in brutal melee combat. As the bloom corrupts worlds, environments will evolve and erupt with deadly hazards and minions. Cultists and the infamous Death Guard Chaos Space Marines will mutate with pestilent boons and blessings, giving them new attacks and abilities. Adapt your tried and tested strategies to overcome unsurmountable odds against towering foes and their servants. Charge headlong into fast-paced tactical combat, eviscerate and execute enemies up close in gory displays of prowess, or strike from afar with blessed bullets and powerful psychic energies. Use the dynamic, destructible environment to your advantage by tearing down pillars or slamming vehicles into unsuspecting enemies. So my opinion is that the game is essentially XCOM but Warhammer 40,000. It looks to have been made using the same game engine, and this game will certainly press the buttons of players who played XCOM, XCOM 2 and Phoenix Point. It should also be a big draw for the fans of the Warhammer 40,000 tabletop games series. However, I have seen a lot of complaints in the forums around how difficult the game is and that it isn't in line with the lore, because the Grey Knights should be wiping the floor with all these forces of chaos. Personally, I think the power of the Grey Knights has been very well executed in this game. You just have a squad of 4, obliterating 20 to 30 enemies during each mission. Unlike in XCOM, if your units die during a mission, they can come back after being wounded for 3 turns. Not only that, if they do take wounds during a mission, they still have a number of wounds available for future missions, so eventually they will die off, but it's not like in XCOM where you can just recruit new soldiers. Another way that this has been implemented is the removal of the chance to hit indicator that you had in XCOM. So here, the awesomeness of the Grey Knights has been showcased by giving them a 100% chance to hit, which is great because I found it really annoying in XCOM when you would miss from point blank range. Another difference in comparison to XCOM is that you can interact with the environment, so being able to push down pillars and crush a group of enemy. All these things might make it sound as though it's been dumbed down a little bit in comparison to XCOM, but you couldn't be more wrong. The game is hard, even on standard mode. As I mentioned, in the early stages of the game we've got just 4 knights. During the mission there's something called the bloom. This is a level of corruption that increases each turn. Using your psychic abilities also increase the bloom, so you've got to be really careful and use them quite sparingly. Once the bloom indicator reaches 100%, a whole manner of things can happen, whether it be buffs for the enemy, nerfs to your units, or hordes of new units entering the map through the warp. These units can then summon more units from the ground. I'm sure at one point my whole squad was surrounded and obliterated by about 20 units, and that was just mission 3. Even with my squad wiped out though, I still won the mission. So in most missions, if you complete the main objective, you have to hold for another 2 or 3 turns. So whilst this endless horde of demons tries to kill you. And as I said before, your soldiers have a wound recovery timer, so if all your units are wounded, They're out of play, they can't be attacked, so even if all your squad is down, you can still win, provided you've completed the main objective. The problem with taking wounds, however, is that if they are critical wounds, like all of these were, you're unable to use them again for around 50 in-game days, which is quite a while. And even when they are back in your roster for you to use, they're still recovering from the wounds for about another 40 or 50 days, which means that they start future missions with reduced max HP, which makes them much more squishy. So once all of your knight's wounds are taken down over a series of missions, they can't recover. So in terms of the look of the game and performance, the artwork's fantastic. It really sets the scene and adds to the atmosphere of the intense battles. The details on the models is great, and man, there's so much blood and gore, with enemies literally falling to pieces when they die. The voice acting's okay throughout the game, both during the missions and during the cutscenes and whilst interacting with the crew outside of the missions. Although I do find some of the enemy units a little bit irritating.
Gods preserve us!
There's a strong storyline within the game which even non-Warhammer fans should be able to get immersed into. Essentially, the chapter master dies in the tutorial mission and you take charge. An Inquisitor arrives and forces your ship to aid their quest against heresy, as you are duty bound to do so should they request it. There's various characters who form the story of the game, and you can interact with these within the different areas of the ship and help your story to move along. Within the ship there are various rooms, one for research, a barracks where you can assign equipments for your knights, the main tactical room where you can access the map and travel from planet to planet, and the engineering section of the ship where you can issue repairs that upgrade your ship. Very much the same as it is in XCOM, but reskinned. In terms of performance, I have seen a lot of people having problems with the game glitching or dropping frames, but for me personally, with my mid to low end PC, the game runs fine and looks great on medium graphics. I haven't had a single issue. Sometimes it takes a while for different screens to load up, but that's all. The only things that I personally would prefer to see different about the game is that you'd have different Space Marine factions and the opportunity to create your own faction, and possibly to have different factions from the 40k universe make an appearance, so whether that be Orcs, Necrons or Tau for example. The problem with that though is it probably would make the storytelling side of the game quite a lot more difficult, which could possibly impact on the immersion of the game. I would also suggest that the missions had a bit more variation, as it can become a little bit repetitive. XCOM was a bit better in that regard because you had missions against crashed or landed UFOs, as well as attacks on cities that involved civilians, and also missions where you had to protect an NPC or prevent so many civilian casualties. So maybe a mission where you have to protect a squad of Imperial Guard would be good. The only appearance I've seen them make so far is as scenery corpses. Honestly though, I love this game. Each mission has had me by the edge of my seat, heart racing as I desperately tried not to die a horrible death. It's intense. I initially loved using grenades to quickly destroy a group of demons, but I quickly realised that you have to use them sparingly as you only get one per night, providing you've equipped them as their selected war gear. You get 3 action points to spend each turn. Sometimes you can get away with shooting 3 times, but I find that the best approach to this game is to take your time. Don't rush in, firing on all cylinders in a field of glory, as this just leads to defeat. There is an ability that all great knights have called the Aegis Shield. I've come to use this pretty much every single turn when there's enemies around, because it gives you an armor buff which tanks quite a good amount of damage, and it really is the difference between winning and losing. But yeah, overall I'm really enjoying the game, and I will continue playing this for the time being at the expense of playing my main games, because the game is just so good. As to give this game a grading out of 10, I'd probably say an 8.5. So should you buy it, I'd certainly recommend it, whether that be now or waiting for its sale. But if you are interested in buying the game for yourself, there is an affiliate link in the description where you can get the game a little bit cheaper than on Steam, and it helps the channel out a little bit as well. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.